You're welcome back. It's time for AM Talk, and we've got quite a lot to talk about. First, a very quick happy birthday to our colleague Inshira Ado, or to use his government name, Vincent Inshira Ado. He's another year older today. Happy birthday to you. Also, a special birthday wish just came through for Joyce Amwa of Dome Mount Zion Methodist Church. Her birthday was yesterday, and your daughter, Mrs. Yvonne Chumesi Ampofo of Stanbic Bank, wants you to have a wonderful, wonderful celebration. May God richly bless you. Right, okay, so our guests for today are, and this name will make the people of Bilsa North jump and jubilate. It's their Member of Parliament, James Agalga, ranking member also on the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament. Also with us, and we're happy he's able to make the time, Pius Enam Hajide is the Deputy Information Minister. This ought to be interesting. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Right, so here's where we want to begin. Obviously, a number of unfortunate criminal activities have occurred in very quick succession. We've had the death of the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority Public Relations Director. We've had the death of the journalist, undercover journalist, Mr. Swale. And then, of course, we've had these kidnappings. Now, just to put them all in perspective for our conversation, let's hear from a few people who have said some interesting things about them. First, the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, on the kidnappings. And then let's listen to Kennedy Ejapong on the killing of Ahmed Swale. And then the minority in Parliament, led by Mr. Muntaka, who has called for the Privileges Committee to once again look into the behavior of Kennedy Ejapong. Here we go.
The police, immigration, and everybody, we're working very hard to make sure that we make Ghana as secure as the president wants it to be. And I want to assure you that the police are doing everything that they can. They're picking leads and following the leads. And I think that we're making a lot of progress. From the beginning of the investigation, there was a time when the suspect wasn't talking. We now have a second suspect as well. And we are doing all we can within the law to make sure we get the information.
A second suspect away from the 15 who were picked in Odumasi, you mean, or a second suspect as in what?
You're talking about kidnapping. I say we pick a second suspect and the investigation is ongoing. We got the second suspect in the old case of Afoko that had been going on for years. And we still following leads, and we got the person yesterday. So we would want you to cooperate with us, to give us information. And I am telling and assuring you that the Ghana police has what it takes. The professionalism is there. We are also conscious of the fact that crime is international, and therefore we're collaborating first with our neighbors. We're collaborating with international organizations as Interpol. We're collaborating with friendly countries, and it's a symbiotic relationship. I can tell you that we got about 2 criminals that were being sought over the whole world. They couldn't find them. We found them here. So it's okay to deal with other countries. What I want us to be rest assured is that we are not sleeping on these matters.
It would be very unbecoming of a member of parliament for any reason under this earth to incite that any person should be beaten. And I have the video where he clearly says that in tree, when you meet him anywhere, slap and beat the hell out of him. And when he comes to these premises, beat the hell out of him. If it comes to anything, I will pay. That's, in my view, it's clearly inciting against an innocent citizen. And that should not be coming from a member of parliament.
I'm trying to quote you directly. You are drawing attention to the comment that Mr. Ejapong made on the floor. And he said the comments incited the public against Ahmed Hussein, leading to his death. You drew that linkage from what I heard on the floor. Yes. Aren't you jumping the gun? The police are now investigating who is behind the death.
I'm not. I mean, that's why I kept referring to 1, 2, 3. What we will do in Parliament has nothing to do with what the police will be doing. Opoku, many people have heard your name reporting from Parliament a number of times. They don't even know, are you tall? Are you fair? Are you dark? I mean, people don't know you. People do not know where you stay. As I sit now, if a gun is put on my head, I should guess where you stay. Maybe I will guess 100 times and get it wrong. If for any reason I decide to put your picture to the notice of the general public, and inside them that when they meet you, they should beat you and go ahead to mention the suburb that you stay. In my view, I've aided whoever wanted to harm you. I've aided that person. Because one, I've made it easy for him to be able to know who you are, how you look like. I've been able to aid the person to know proximity, where to look for you. If I were to go looking for you in Accra, it may take me months to even locate where you probably be staying. I have to do a lot of work to be able to do that. But if someone now offers me that free, oh, you are staying at Osu. Now my search is 0 to Osu. That is why, in my view, what he did aided those who got the guy to kill. Yes, you cannot prove it, but the interesting thing is that why did he put the...
I don't trust the police.
You don't trust the police in this country?
Read my lips.
You don't trust the police?
I don't trust the police.
In Ghana?
Yes. Read my lips. Read my lips.
Do you,
one of the videos,
do you trust the police to find the killers of Ahmed Hussein?
I am doing better investigations than even the police.
So you don't trust them to do a good job?
I don't. I have a lot of evidence, but I don't share with anybody. I will serialize it for Ghanaians to see who announces, and I'm not afraid to die.
You circulated pictures of Ahmed Hussein Swane. Do you think you bear some moral responsibility for what happened to him?
Bear moral responsibility? No. I am rather saving Ghanaians from criminals, and I have no regret.
You have no regret for what happened to Ahmed Hussein?
What has happened to him, yes. By showing his pictures, no regret. Because they disgrace reputable judges, custom officers, GFA. He has destroyed Africa, destroyed Ghana, destroyed Ghanaians, and go scot-free.
Did you contribute in any way to the death of Ahmed Hussein?
That's rubbish. You ask an intelligent question. How can you ask me, did I contribute in any way? Who is he? I don't know the guy. He has never offended me. How would I go and say that, go and kill Ahmed? He has never offended me. Yeah.
You said if they see him, beat him up anywhere.
My premises.
It's on record.
Yeah,
and
premises.
You also said that you'll be responsible for it.
Yeah, my premises.
You said you'll be responsible for it.
Yes, if he comes to my premises, anywhere my premises, beat him up.
Well, so that's what's been going on. Let's talk about it. Now, maybe we'll start macro and then we'll come into the specific cases. So let's start first of all with the general security situation in our country and the management of that security situation. I say this because, Mr. Galga, because of the committee that you serve on, you'll be quite helpful to us on this matter. The chairman of the committee is sort of refuting the complaint or concern of Minority Member Mr. Kujeto Ablakwa regarding Mr. Albert Kandapa, who is the Minister for National Security. According to the law, in Securities and Intelligence Agencies Act 1996, he's supposed to make an annual report on the state of security in the nation to Parliament. Mr. Kujeto Ablakwa suggests that this hasn't been done. But the chairman of your committee says, well, your committee receives regular briefings from Mr. Kandapa, which in essence fulfills that requirement. First of all, is this true? Do you get regular briefings from Mr. Kandapa, and do you feel that that requirement is fulfilled by these briefings?
Oh, thank you. Good morning to your cherished viewers. I find my chairman's remarks very shocking to say the least. I still can't believe it that my chairman, and I also heard the Minister for the Information, hold the view that the Minister for National Security gives periodic briefings to the Committee for the Defense and Interior. I am the ranking member of that committee. Maybe the minister briefs only the members of the majority on the committee. If that is what they are saying, I wouldn't be in the position to rebut that claim. But the committee is not made up of only the majority members. So if that were the case, it would constitute a fundamental breach of the standing orders of Parliament that a Minister of State singles out only the majority members of the committee for purposes of briefing. That wouldn't pass for a committee briefing. So I sit here, I say I am seriously scandalized. You would recall not too long ago when we had the budget debate on the floor, I called for that ministry to be scrapped. And what was the nucleus of my argument? My argument revolved around the dereliction of duty on the part of the minister to the extent that he doesn't comply with Section 17 of the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act by not furnishing us with annual reports. And we said this, I raised this objection in the very first year, the first budget of this government. When we had the opportunity to debate the budget, I noted at that point that the minister was not compliant with provisions of the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act. Then for the second time, I repeated those objections. The first time I called for a boycott of their budget hearings because of the non-compliance. Because you need to know what obtains in the workings of the intelligence agencies to be able to scrutinize their budget. So when the Minister of State chooses not to comply with provisions of the law, they disable Parliament from exercising its oversight. I mean, they blindfold you and expect you to be able to analyze their budget and approve same.
I want you to be categorical. You're saying that the Minister for National Security has never.
And he himself, I am surprised the minister is in this country and has chosen not to respond to Honorable Okujeto of Blackwell's open letter because the letter was addressed to him, but allowed the chairman of the committee and the Minister for the Information to do the responses. I speak on authority that he has never. If he has, where is the report? Where is the report?
So he
they
has
claim
never
he briefs
appeared
us
before your committee?
No. And I say this on authority. No, it's a no.
So this is a
so it's very strange. In any case, listen, Kojo. We have given warning that in the face of the exhaustion of all attempts on our side to get the minister to comply with provisions of the law, we're going to go to court to compel him through legal means. Now, with this assertion by the chairman, I would invite and encourage him to come to court when we eventually issue our writ against the Minister for National Security, to come to court and state that he has been briefing the committee.
Wow. Let me check something. In the previous government, there wasn't a Minister for National Security.
Yes.
So who was the one fulfilling this provision in the Act?
The Minister for the Interior had been designated as the one with responsibility for the Secretariat of the National Security Council.
So he was the one responsible for giving these briefings?
Absolutely.
And he did so, did he?
Several times, reports were submitted to the Speaker.
Okay.
And
so
those
has the
passed
Minister for the
annual
Interior
reports
in this government appeared before your committee and given briefings?
Yes, but remember that the Minister for the Interior now does not oversight the intelligence agencies.
Right.
In our era, what the president did was not to appoint a minister for national security, even though once upon a time we had the likes of Kofi Totobikwachi serve in that Kofi Totobikwachi serve in that capacity. But when President Mills took over the government, he designated the Interior Minister as the one who had responsibility for the intelligence agencies.
Right.
President Mahama followed suit. So in those times, we didn't have a minister.
Okay. So this is a categorical thing from you. In your capacity as
the ranking member,
the Minister for National Security has never appeared before your committee.
Absolutely, and briefed us, furnished us with reports. The law is very clear that the minister must furnish Parliament with annual reports. It doesn't even say he must appear before the committee and orally brief us. So even if you go by what the chairman of the committee has said, you'd find that, I mean, clearly what he said is not in tandem with the law. The law says, furnish us with an annual report. You are saying he appears before the committee, even though I want to distance myself from that assertion. I'm saying that even if that assertion is anything to go by, you find that it still doesn't resolve the problem.
Okay, Mr. Hajide, I want your take on this. I mean, your ministry speaks for the executive arm of government, and you are responsible to report to Parliament and be subject to its scrutiny. Why is this minister apparently not doing so?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to you and my colleague and our cherished viewers. From what we know, the minister responsible for national security continues to brief the Parliamentary Select Committee on Security and Defense. I am rather surprised at the attitude adopted by our colleagues in the minority, but I'm not surprised. In another breath, sometimes our friends have been quick to always want to play smart and to score some points, albeit cheap political points. This is a matter that has to be interrogated. These are two major people within that committee that appear to be contradicting themselves. The chairman says we get the briefings, the ranking member says we get the briefings. We do not get the briefings. I think that we need to interrogate the matter further. There's no reason.
Take anybody's word.
There's no reason. I'm saying that's why.
Have reports.
Yes, but the reports are supposed to go somewhere. So I am not a member of that committee. I'm unable to produce that report as we speak. But I'm saying that we can further interrogate the matter. I get a sense from my brother's submissions that it may be a matter of form rather than substance. Is it a written response? Is it a verbal briefing? I think at a certain point, the energy with which the argument was being lobbied here, that reports do not come, at a point the energy declines, and we begin to hear that, well, even if it is verbal briefings, that is a shortfall as far as the law is concerned. So
but
for me, I get the sense that it may be a question of form rather than of substance. But we cannot adjudicate this matter here. The gentleman who the ranking member is contesting is not on the show, and it will be unfair that we will take what the honorable ranking member says and throw away what the chairman of the committee himself says. So we can interrogate this matter. The other argument that I want to also pose is that...
Sorry, just before your argument, just to clarify, so what you're saying as Deputy Minister for Information is you don't have any information about actual reports from the minister. You are saying it should be interrogated.
No, what I've said is that from what we know, the minister responsible for national security continues to brief the Parliamentary Select Committee.
And you know this how?
I know it because we have interrogated with the chairman of the committee, who has confirmed that, in fact, they do receive briefings from the minister responsible.
Have you checked with the minister? I mean,
no, we haven't checked with the minister. And I'm saying to you that until now, until the contradiction that I am hearing now, I did not envisage that this was not happening, because the chairperson confirms that it's been happening. So now that the ranking member is contradicting him, and I'm not saying that we should throw away what the ranking member says, much the same way, I'm not sure he's also suggesting that we should throw away what the chairperson says. Why should we believe Honorable Agaga and not the chairperson? So we can interrogate this. My worry is that if there are clear constitutional provisions about reports that ought to be submitted, what are the avenues within the processes and procedures of Parliament to ensure a compliance? For me, is it only going to court? How about even written documentation requesting that these things that ought to have been done in accordance with relevant provisions of the law have not been done? So we can also tender do same as, okay, on so and so occasion, we have even written to you, reminding you or requesting of you to comply with such relevant provisions of the law.
And those Parliament's fault. That
I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying that there should definitely be processes within the law that can be activated to ensure compliance.
No,
I haven't said that. And I'm saying that, well, he just said that they will go to court, or they intend to go to court. And for me, this is after the horses have bolted from the stable. Now the matter is under contention. And the Honorable Ranking Member is speaking after the facts, and saying that this is what they even intend to do. This is what he says. As to whether this is even true or not, and that these are not things that we are saying because the cameras are before us and we are confronted with this matter today, it's another matter.
Right.
But I am saying to you that for us at the Ministry of Information, from what we know, these briefings have gone to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Security and Defense. Right. But critically, I think that there must be some look at the processes, because we cannot pass the laws just for passage sake. And I'm getting also worried a little about what my brother says when you ask that serious question about, so in their time, who was superintending the issues of who was providing those reports? He says that is the Minister for Interior. Well, I think that we may have to look at those properly and see what the true mandate of the Ministry of Interior is, and that if the Ministry of Interior can really and truly superintend the agencies that operate within the scope of national security. If, for instance, the Ministry of Interior can report for and on behalf of, for instance, the BNI. I mean, are they within the scope of the Minister for the Interior, for instance?
The BNI is, in theory, an arm of the CID, is it not? It's a part of the police.
It used to be.
No, it's not.
But now it's not.
It's not.
Okay, so
it used to be the special branch of the police service. But following the enactment of the Security and Intelligence Agency,
so
it became an autonomous body. But you see, the decision to appoint a minister to head what is now National Security, otherwise known as the Secretariat of the National Security Council, is a policy decision. So in times past, what does the law say?
Yeah, but this must conform to the law.
Yeah, the law simply says that the president shall designate a minister who shall have responsibility for the security and intelligence agencies of state. Now, I'm saying that under President Rawlings, Kofi Tutubi Kwachi, once upon a time, was assigned responsibility. He went through vetting. At the same time, we had the Minister for the Interior. But under President Mills and President Mahama, they decided to designate the Minister for the Interior as the Minister of State responsible for the intelligence agencies.
And Mr. Hajide is raising a policy decision about that.
That is a policy decision. Because seriously speaking, if you ask me what the roles of the Minister for National Security and Interior are, you find that the two ministerial functions have not been properly delineated. They have not been properly delineated, because there have been times you find the Minister for National Security take responsibility for certain security issues that arguably could come squarely under the functions of the Minister for the Interior.
How are they
well, let's not derail the argument and convolute the issues. But again, I want to bring home the point. As we speak, the reports that my brother speaks to, that they exist. I mean, he just made those comments. I haven't seen any reports from the erstwhile NDC administration on national security. But I take it from him as a deputy minister at the time and as a ranking member in Parliament today. And so, in much the same way, I take it from the chairman of the committee that those reports do actually those briefings do actually go.
But luckily we have the chairman on the line.
Okay.
Yes, let's hear from the chairman, Mr. Setha Champong, chairman of the Committee on Defense and Security and Interior. Forgive me, Mr. Champong. Good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
Very well, thank you so much. This is getting controversial now. You are suggesting, according to the Daily Dispatch newspaper, that you received briefings from the National Security Minister, but your ranking member says no.
I am a bit taken aback. Let me say good morning to my ranking member. I want to understand the subject and the discussion fully, and then I will offer my answers. I really was not following your conversations with my ranking member. So if you could give me a background, then I can just speak to where we are all at different appreciations.
It's quite straightforward, actually. So we are discussing a report in the Daily Dispatch, which says that that you have stated that Mr. Albert Kandapaa, the Minister for National Security, has been appearing before your committee in camera and giving briefings. I want to read the quote from the Daily Dispatch newspaper to you. This is what you supposedly said to them, and I quote, "He, Kandapaa, appears before us in camera and gives us briefings on what is happening." This is apparently what you said to City News when you were asked about whether or not you have been receiving reports from the minister as the law requires, annual reports. And your ranking member here is saying that, well, no such briefing has ever happened in camera or otherwise.
Oh, thank you very much. I won't be surprised if my ranking member fully says that we have never, in this 7th Parliament, met with the National Security Minister, and that he comes to our committee in camera when there are issues, and we are worried in respect of national security, and he's not briefed us. Yes, this third session is fully to be organized, because we had the first meeting of this third session yesterday, and we not met the National Security Minister in this session, but we met him in the last session. He appeared before us on certain matters that my ranking member knows was crucial and critical, and we spoke with the National Security Minister in camera. So if anybody says that was wrong, I'm surprised, and there was no point in making those comments if it had not happened. I gain nothing by doing that.
Okay, so we don't want to have to take your word for it. He said, we'd rather have evidence. So when did this happen? Are there reports of it? Is there a parliamentary record of these appearances?
Yes, please, we have a report to that.
Okay, so can we have that? That should settle the matter.
That report was not supposed to be made. If that in-camera conversation was to be made public, yes, we would have published it long before that. There are minutes to that meeting, and that minute is available.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, that would be evidence, wouldn't it? So, can we have that? No. That should settle this matter once and for all, and then we don't have to debate it.
Thank you very much, Kojo.
Now, Mr. Agalga, you heard what he's saying.
Yes, I think my ranking member should be forthright with the issues at stake. We're coming under the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act. And Section 17 of that law says the Minister for National Security shall furnish Parliament with annual reports. Is he suggesting by any stretch of imagination that Honorable Kandapaa has, for the 2 years that he's been the Minister for National Security, complied with that provision? We are not talking about briefings. Look, when the Minister for National... Please, hold on. When the Minister for National Security appears before the committee on a budget hearing, it's a briefing. Will that pass for the annual reports that the law specifically requires him to furnish the House with? In any case, Parliament is a house of record.
You have never.
Never.
No. To say we have never met with the minister is not correct.
You were
All
asked
ministers.
a direct question.
Pius,
Has he ever come?
don't run away from the substantive issue.
No.
The substantive issue and the issue Honorable Okujeto raised was that the minister has never complied specifically with Section 17 of the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act. If the chairman is online, I want him to deny whether or not the minister is in compliance. He's not.
Concede something here.
He's in breach.
No.
Why are we running away? And the chairman knows this.
Mr. Champa, I'll take your final word on this.
Let him respond directly to the issue of compliance.
The compliance.
Section 17 of the Security
I'm interested in that as well. The compliance with the law, the annual report on the state of security of our nation. Kandapa given that report to Parliament, either to committee or to the General House of Parliament?
Thank you very much. My colleague, the ranking member, just reminds him that I said he should just take it easy. He knows me, I know him very well. I'm not ranking member. I am his chairman. I want to correct him before I move on. I am the chairman of the committee. I'm not a ranking member. James knows that Section 17(2) of the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act is a major security matter. Yes, the law states so. This is my 10th year in Parliament. No national security minister or the minister responsible, irrespective, 17(1) says that the president will appoint a minister to be any minister, not necessarily Christian, as a national security minister. At every given moment in administration, every president appoints a national security minister. He may necessarily not be Christian, a national security minister, but there must be a minister responsible for national security. And nobody, none, under my last watch, and I've been on committee for the last 10 years, has ever granted that report. Reasons are there.
Wait, Mr. Champo, forgive me. Are you saying the reason why you have not complied with the law is because no one has ever complied with it?
I thought you would allow me to land.
I'm sorry, you said something that I thought we had to clarify.
I said, in my last 10 years, I have not witnessed that.
Okay.
The reason why I have not witnessed that is where I'm jumping to, if you may allow me.
Okay.
Security matters, and my brother James knows, as a former sworn Deputy Minister of State at Interior, it is not all security matters that are discussed and brought in public. We are finding, and it's a matter we discussed. We've not come into a conclusion yet. And they know I don't need to lie about anything. A mechanism at Parliament, because our orders have some discretion. And discretion is this: we are masters of our own rules. How best do we give flesh to that particular Section 17(2)? We need to put together a mechanism that will grant us, as a state, as a republic, the best method of getting the minister to comply with the particular section we're talking about. And as we speak, there is none. So many a time, I wouldn't want us to throw this matter away in a banter like we're doing now, because it is a major matter of concern to each and every person who wants to see the spirit of this state go forward. If you're looking for compliance today, I have no difficulty.
Right. This is a matter that we obviously will have to interrogate further. What you are saying, and I want to clarify, what you're saying is that the law exists, but Parliament doesn't know how to implement it. That's why it's never been implemented.
You see, I will tell you, and you would know that when we take oath of secrecy, to go to the State Secrecy Act, we'll say oaths of secrecy. It is not every matter that appears before us that we can put out there in the public. Yes, we have made the law, but the minister must appear and offer other reports, and the reports that will come to Parliament, and Parliament will find its own way of putting the report out. Yes, such a report has never appeared before Parliament. However, informally, we have briefings when they appear before us.
Right. Now, those briefings, you know how to take those briefings. But what you can't take is an annual report. So as a committee, you can hear top secret information from the minister. He can come and brief you and you can listen. But you can't get an annual report on the state of security. That one, you can't figure out how to do it. Where is the confusion?
No. It is not mandatory on the committee to produce an annual report.
Anyway, this is something that I think we need a bit of time to understand. I want to appreciate the points you are making, but we have a lot to talk about.
You know, on the minister, it's not the committee.
The honorable ranking member has been at this.
The minister has.
I think that
you have had too much. The clear provisions of the act.
Mr. Champo, forgive me. I'm going to have to say a big thank you for now, because this is something we have to make a bit of time to discuss.
The law is the law.
Very finally on this very briefly, and then we move on to the other issues.
Because let us be forthright with the people of Ghana. If there are shortfalls, if there are limitations, we must work at it holistically to fix whatever challenges that we have. But let's tell the truth. Right here on this network, on this platform, when you ask the direct question, has the minister ever...
That is inconsequential.
It is very consequential.
It begs the question.
It is very...
The real issue,
if I may, you categorically, let me finish.
You've missed the issue.
Let me finish. I determine my issues. You can determine yours.
No, the issues are determined by the host.
I'm saying that
you don't determine the issues.
You categorically denied.
Insofar as the said briefings,
if I may, please, if we can just
waited to report.
And I made the point that maybe the argument is more about form rather than substance. You contradicted it and said, no, that was not the issue. But now we are being told that, after all, those security briefings may actually have happened. But you denied it.
That is not the issue.
You denied it.
When you do this,
you also peddle
falsehood. You are trying to confuse the public.
You
see, we deal with issues on this program. When you do that, you are trying to confuse the issues.
In the immediate past, the Interior Minister submitted security report
to the speaker severally. I'm speaking on authority.
No, it is. You see now he has
Dr.
to say.
Kumbo was minister for the interior.
The speaker.
Honorable Makoyo was minister for the interior. Okay. I have personally seen reports they submitted to the speaker.
Oh no, please.
Why?
Your chairman, who has been in parliament longer than you,
but he didn't. If he didn't see, if he didn't see.
So if you also have
I'm speaking on authority here.
Please.
I'm speaking on authority. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Allow me to moderate, please permit me to moderate.
I think that clearly.
Security briefing is different from an annual report.
We must make progress.
I think that clearly there are shortfalls.
Why do you want to force all of us to swallow what is not right?
I think that clearly there have been shortfalls, and these have been historical. The facts must be told.
Which facts?
And the fact that the
law has never been complied with. Is that what you're saying?
That's the point.
So it's an admission on your part.
But I'm saying
would you apologize to the Ghanaian people?
No.
When you stated to the Ghanaian populace that the minister has been compliant.
Okay, gentlemen.
Would you make that apology?
We've said that.
We have to move on.
The minister has been offering
let's get serious here. Briefings are not annual reports.
Now you are correcting.
All right.
I'm not correcting anything.
Please.
Now you are amending your position.
Please.
Let's tell the people of Ghana the truth.
This type of
Thankfully, no. Okay.
What is that?
Thankfully, these are issues that we can verify. We don't need to take anybody's word for this. If indeed reports were given, there will be evidence. Even if we can't see the substance of the report, the evidence of its existence, we can verify.
It would have been tabled.
So we can verify. When the last report was issued, annual report on the state of security of our nation in compliance with this law, when the last one was issued, if indeed in the past 10 years it has never happened, we will be able to verify. Let us now move on. All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Now, Mr. Kennedy Agyapong is to appear once again before the Privileges Committee. Now, this is where I want us to start our conversation on this. Very often, we have seen committees in Parliament, whether ad hoc ones or standing ones, being given assignments to look into certain issues. And the terms of reference has been the way in which somehow the substance of the issue has been skirted. I don't want to go into examples because we end up debating those examples. Okay, I'll give you one. Cash for seats.
Yes.
When the issue came out and the media was discussing cash for seats, the issue was whether or not access to the president was being sold for money. But a committee was set up by Parliament to look into the matter of inducement, which I don't know where that word came from, but suddenly it was in the discourse and that became the center of the committee's investigation. So the issue of whether or not access to the president was sold for money did not become the deciding issue. So even though in the committee it was admitted by the minister that indeed this arrangement was made, that people would pay to have access to the part of what they will get is a dinner with the president, one-on-one dinner at the time of their choosing. Even though that fact was established, it was not the basis on which the matter was decided. It was rather decided on the matter of inducement or whatever the word was that was introduced.
Kojo, you are wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
Where you are wrong.
I didn't want us to debate this. We have something else to talk about.
Where you are wrong was that the matter that was referred to that committee that was set up was the terms of reference were fashioned after a motion.
Okay.
That was laid, not what you were discussing here on set.
I agree.
And the issue was that there were those words.
Very good.
The emotion was laid.
Very good.
Emotion
that's
was
the
stable.
point I'm trying to make.
And so it is not in the discretion of the committee to bring in the angles that commentators.
Mr. Hajide, you are making my point for me.
Okay.
So I want us to look at the terms of reference that are to be tabled now in this matter of Kennedy Japan. We are discussing somebody who, let's face it, has been treated differently for a very long time. There are things Mr. Kennedy Japan has done, and the reaction has been very different from when other people do those same things. So as we move into this second,
contempt.
Yes, contempt hearing. I want us to start from the area of terms of reference. I've heard the minority suggest that his actions are what led to the killing.
That's an outrageous
suggestion. I don't know how this committee will seek to prove that. I don't know how this committee will seek to prove that.
I'm scandalized.
But I want to start with you, Mr. Agalga.
No, not him.
Oh, why?
Please.
Why do you want to hijack the duties and responsibilities of the host?
To respond, don't you worry.
Honorable Minister.
But I want to start with you, Mr. Agalga. I've heard Mr. Muntaka make this suggestion, this connection between what Mr. Japan did and the death. Something which I really don't know how a committee can prove. Why are you not rather more interested in the simple thing he did, which was calling on the public to beat this individual? Is that alone not bad enough for the committee to have to look into? Why must you connect it to the death?
Kojo, I think that the motion the Honorable Minority Chief moved yesterday for the conduct of Honorable Kennedy Japan to be referred to the Privileges Committee was very clear. It was very, very clear in its nature and form. First of all, he came under a specific provision of our Constitution, I think Article 112 and Order 28 of the Standing Orders. He also referenced Eskin May on parliamentary practice and procedure. That is about the best you can find on parliamentary practice and procedure. Now, the rule he invoked says simply that when the conduct of a member of parliament will constitute an affront to the dignity of parliament, that person is in contempt, in which case his behavior must be dealt with and appropriate sanctions meted out if it's found culpable. Okay? Now you read further, Eskime actually says that the dignity that is accorded Parliament as an institution under no circumstance should be subject to ridicule through the behavior of a member, and that when a member resorts to such conduct, to the extent that the status and respect that the House ought to command is diminished, the behavior is contemptuous. So when the Honorable Minority Chief Whip moved his motion, he did not suggest that Parliament should pretend to act like the police will do in order for criminal charges to be preferred. No, that is not what he said. That would reserve for the CID if they can establish the linkage between the utterances of Kennedy Japan, the fact of splashing the photos of Ahmed Swale on Netu TV, and the murder, that becomes an issue for the police to deal with and for the courts to handle. But so far as Parliament is concerned, the conduct, the act of speaking out, the act of inviting the public to cause harm to the person of Ahmed and Anas in itself would suffice for an action for contempt to be brought before the Privileges Committee. Remember that a member of Parliament is accorded certain courtesies, not because we are special people, but because of the high office we occupy. So that if you're a member of Parliament and you sit on air, you have taken an oath of office to protect the laws of this country, to preserve our constitution. You have the Criminal and Other Offences Act, and you go out there and incite the public to beat up somebody. You splash the person's photos. You make it easy for assailants to locate the person who is now deceased. We're saying that that conduct diminishes the respect that ought to be accorded to the institution of Parliament and would pass for contempt.
So you don't think you are increasing the standard of proof, if you will, by making that connection to the murder?
No, we are not. That wouldn't be our duty.
Right.
Our duty as Parliament would be limited to the conduct of even splashing the deceased photos on TV and inviting the public to cause harm to his person.
All right.
Whether there is a linkage or not should pass for contempt.
All right.
Because a member of Parliament should never do that. Even an ordinary person, of course we are all ordinary, but those who don't have the privilege to serve as members of Parliament, when you do that, you solicit, you invite the public to cause harm to another person. That is criminal in its nature.
Okay.
So that is what the contempt application brought by Honorable Muntak is grounded upon.
Okay. Mr. Hajide, so many times the Kennedy Japan has made the headlines for doing things that are unusual. But there never appears to be any sanction from the party or from the government, which is formed by his party. Is the MPP afraid of Kennedy Japan?
Well, the MPP is not afraid of any individual, including Mr. Kennedy Japan. And as and when the party makes the determination that the conduct of Mr. Kennedy Japan goes against the party's laid down rules, regulations and processes, he will be dealt with in accordance of the law. We are a party that can pull the brakes on even the national chairman of the party, on even the general secretary of the party. And before a president is elected for us, the chairman is the leader of the party. And so we are a party of institutions, we are a party of processes. And so if there is any allegation or allegation of wrongdoing, the complaints must be properly made and the necessary evidences and cases brought against individuals. And the party system would travel the full haul so that whatever sanctions need to be applied will be applied. So that deals with it from the party angle. Now on the contempt part, you are quite clear. You are right that sometimes in moving some of this motion, we are either politically motivated, we are in a haste, and it is not grounded on genuine concern, and so we mostly misfire and go after people only with a political motivation. And so sometimes, and in most cases, our cases collapse. And here on set this morning, we have a vigorous attempt from Honorable Agaga to rewrite and to polish what motion that everybody knows has been laid. And comments were made today on TV. And the whole point was being made by Honorable Muntaka that the comment of Kennedy led to the death of the individual. And he said that, if he was using your journalist as an example, I went and said where you are living and so on and so forth. Then at that point, because you are the one who is moving the motion, and it is that motion that has been adopted, the committee is now compelled to operate within the confines of what it is that you yourself have put up before the committee. And they do this not genuinely and in the national interest. They do this because of politics. That's why, in most cases, some of these things collapse. But
so
for
the
me,
intent for Mr. Kennedy Japan to get away with whatever they accuse him of.
Well, but that's why you were surprised. I mean, you were the first person to express surprise that this matter will not be dealt with in the manner in which belatedly Honorable Agaga seeks to postulate now, but in the manner in which it was advocated on the floor of the House yesterday and again on TV this morning by Honorable Muntaka. If you proceed in that line, your case will collapse, and you will know this because you only wanted to do politics. But I don't have any problem with anybody being invited to the Privileges Committee. I mean, the sanctity of Parliament must be protected. And if it is found that a member's conduct is contemptuous of Parliament, Parliament by its own regulations must be able to crack the whip. That one, it is not for Kojo or Pius or Agaga to discuss on TV. Parliament is the master of their own rules, and they must find a way to be able to do these things. Okay. But for me, if we are talking about comments that incite violence, that have to go before the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges, I think that our colleagues must do a fair job. We have heard members of Parliament incite violence in Odududu, for instance.
Example?
I just mentioned, I gave an example.
You said who? Who incited violence at Odududu?
Honorable.
Remember, you are liable for a suit in defamation.
It's fine.
If you sit here, it makes spurious allegations.
So at the point the police issues a public statement assuring that the man was going to be invited.
Which man?
The man I just mentioned, the whole member of Parliament for Odududu.
No, be specific. Neil Vanderpoel incited.
How did he do this?
So please,
you made the accusation.
You remember,
and we must say that the comments made on this show are the opinions of the panel.
I'm saying that you remember the brouhaha that characterized the registration prior to the 2012 elections. The brouhaha that characterized the violence that characterized voter registration in the Odududu constituency, where people were told that they do not come from Accra, they do not come from they come from either they are Chims and they only came here to ply their trade and to sell their stuff.
And he incited violence?
Yes.
He incited violence.
What did he say?
You are saying that on authority.
Let's get to the point. What did he say?
You can prove that he incited violence.
He asked that by whatever means possible, people who were not indigenous of that place or who he suspected were not residents should be stopped.
So
they should be stopped.
How did that incite violence?
Subsequent to that, we saw violence visited on people.
You saw violence?
Yes, people were beaten.
It sounds like
people were slashed. People were maimed.
I will caution you to be careful.
No, you should have been careful.
I will caution him to be careful because that Kennedy Japan's conduct was actually.
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
It was in contempt of
no, I'm saying that. If that is
privileges.
I'm saying that I don't have a problem, and it is disgraceful. If it is that honorable members of Parliament will incite violence of any nature, I will not. And I think that it is something that Parliament must take a serious view of. But I'm saying that why is the NDC being selective? Is the NDC not aware that there are NDC members of Parliament who incite violence? Why are they not being brought?
So you want them to go back and bring the 2012?
Well, I think it will be fair.
But is it the same Parliament that is?
No, but crime is crime, and crime does not.
But they are not a criminal court. They are not a criminal court.
But I'm saying that nobody is saying that it is as and when or the moment that these matters happen. I'm saying that why they know what to do. If they know what to do now, why didn't they know what to do before?
All right. Okay. So I want
to see the posturing.
I have a question for you as well, Mr. Agalga.
Deputy Minister clearly doesn't help matters.
How?
And he's been too defensive.
How am I being defensive?
Even on the floor of Parliament.
How am I being defensive?
Even on the floor of Parliament.
He says he's happy for the process.
No. This game of equalization doesn't help.
I'm just drawing your attention.
The
but why are you being selective?
Right.
But the game of selectivity is also not
equalization.
But the game of
doesn't help.
I have a question for you, Mr. Agalga. I have a question for you. I have a question for you.
Selectivity.
We have to be quick on this one so we can move on to the Ayawaso West Wogon issue. Now this is my question very quickly, very briefly. Canadian Japan made these comments months ago. Why did minority not raise? 8 months. Yes, 8 months ago. Why did minority not call for contempt hearings then?
First question.
His actions,
that time
whichever way you look at it, has in a way resulted in the loss of life.
You see, we are back.
Those who run away from this statement behave like ostriches. And I have said repeatedly, that we should have the bonds, our security agencies, to deal with Canadian Japan. There are so many offenses with which he could have been held responsible for, and not just the murder. In any case, let me make the point that our decision to take on Honorable Canadian Japan, I think we outlined what measures we're going to take in our press conference, that we expected the security agencies of state to act. But in the meantime,
call for contempt.
In the meantime, sorry,
why not call for privileges?
It's because the matter has been aggravated with the death of an individual.
So it was all right when he made.
It was not all right. It was wrong at the time it was made.
Why didn't you take action at the time?
It was wrong at that time. But right now, as we speak, the matter is aggravated.
No.
But it is aggravated.
You asking that as well?
It is aggravated.
Because I'm not a member of Parliament.
You are not a member of Parliament. You control the security apparatus.
I'm saying to you.
You control the security apparatus. When he made the statement, did you cause his arrest?
Political posturing that.
Did you cause his arrest?
We want to talk about Ayawaso West Wogon.
You are now asking me why we have taken a belated action. Did you cause his arrest?
Ayawaso West Wogon. The elections are coming up tomorrow. We've heard all sides. The former president John Mahama went there, spoke. The current president has been there as well. But I want to start with you, Mr. Hajide. It appears that this party is taking this particular election as a rather key and significant one. The president and the vice president both attending a rally for this one by-election. Are you seeing it as a referendum of your government's performance, and are you basically banking a lot of hope on winning this one? How bad will it be if you lose this election?
Well, thank you very much. We do not intend to lose this election. We will not lose this election, but we are not treating it differently from how we would treat any election. And so we go into elections fully prepared. Parties, we take our time, we plan properly, and we execute. And so, in most by-elections, the president, or even as flag bearer at the time, would attend the rallies. And this is the first time that the president has even entered that constituency.
Panic reaction.
Over what? Please, let's get serious. This is an election that is gone already. Lydia has won the elections. Everybody, any fair follower.
That's quite a statement.
In fact, it is an unconstitutional statement. Why you want to constitute yourself into the Electoral Commission and declare the verdict on this platform? I mean, it's unconstitutional to do that.
But they are the only ones who can declare the winner.
To do that.
I'm saying that.
Remember, some time ago, some person usurped the functions of the EC. I don't want you to repeat that unconstitutional behavior.
And you see, for me, the NDC should have heeded the advice of Honorable Ras Mubarak. I mean, this is an election the MPP won in 2016 with over 10,000 votes.
In 2012, what was the margin? Less than 1,000 or?
Honorable Agalga, can you not just hold on?
Please,
you have your turn.
Let's be holistic.
You have your turn. And we have a far more marketable candidate, a candidate who is an achiever, who out of her own pocket has been involved in the development of Ayawaso. If you go to Aigbe town, behind the new University of Ghana Hospital's belt, the woman from her own pocket did a water system for the people there. You go to several places in the constituency, the woman out of her own pocket has distributed dust bins because of her sanitation project, which she started long before the husband passed. This is somebody who has been active on the ground. The people know her. And so for me, whether the president goes for a rally or the vice president doesn't goes or not, this is an election that the woman will win.
So why did they go?
Because it's the party's program. The president is the leader of the party. The vice president is in town, and so
did the president cancel a program?
We thought it wise. No, the president did not.
All right, now
we thought it wise.
Asking me to play this. It's a part of our conversation.
Did he cancel
are we not playing it anymore?
Minister?
No, he did not.
No? Okay. In that case, a quick one. 1 minute from Mr. Agalga.
First of all, I would call on the people of Ayawaso West Uwagon to support the candidature of Delali. Delali has over the period demonstrated that he's a worthy candidate and deserve to be given the opportunity to serve as MP.
He actually has said that women cannot go to parliament.
Kojo, when he was talking,
he said that.
He's denied those statements.
There's a video.
Mr. Agalga, just a few more seconds. Just a few more seconds.
The MPP made a mistake by choosing a woman.
Please, Mr. Agalga, just a few more seconds.
This election, this election is going to be a referendum on the abysmal performance of the MPP.
Free SHS is abysmal.
The CD is over 5 CDs now. The implementation of the free SHS is very abysmal. It has resulted in the double tracking system is poor. There is unprecedented hardship in our system.
So based on that,
the debt stock has ballooned to about 170 billion. It's unprecedented.
Based on
and yet there is nothing to show. There is nothing to show. No single physical structure to show. This election is going to be a referendum. It's going to be a referendum, and they will lose. He knows it.
I want to say
that is why the president.
I want to say a big thank you to both of you. James Agalga is Member of Parliament for Bulsan North, and Mr. Pius Enam Hajide is the Deputy Minister for Information. I'm sure this will continue long after we're done. But Roland Walker is in town. He's in the constituency and has been engaging some potential voters to find out how they're thinking in the lead up to the polls tomorrow.
We're speaking to some constituency in the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency, and we know that on Thursday they're going to have the by-election. Well, just the last time around, we had just a little over 60-something thousand voters out of the over 88,000 voters coming out to vote. Usually in the by-elections, it's always not up to the numbers as you would witness in the normal parliamentary or general elections. I'm speaking to some of the constituents to get to know what they feel about the current atmosphere surrounding this by-election. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good.
What's your name?
My name is Isaac Boutique.
Isaac Boutique. You decided to use your boutique name.
Know me, Isaac
Boutique in the area. But how do you feel about the atmosphere surrounding this election? You think it's charged up?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good for everybody because I think this election is very serious for everybody in this area.
Why do you think that it looks like both parties, MPP and NDC, are taking these elections more than serious, I should say?
First of all, this seat is MPP seat.
Okay.
So I think NDC people want to take this seat, but it's not easy to take this seat. What I know.
Okay. Did you vote in the last election?
Yeah.
Who did you vote for? That's your secret.
Yeah, that one there is my own.
That's your secret.
I can't.
But so far, what would you say? Do you think that the way the Akufo-Addo government has performed the last 2 years will have a bearing on how people make up their mind as to who to vote for in this election?
Oh, as for me, dear, because of free education, so I like the MPP government.
Because of free SHS?
Yes.
That's why you like the MPP government? Why you have a child in free SHS school?
Oh,
one of them?
Yeah, one of my small boy is there, so I like them. I like that one.
Well, thank you. Isaac
Boutique.
Isaac.
Ubia nims Isaac Boutique near Fremwa because Majuma me and say gatas ya wine na me hwemo mu yi gatas ni mu. Enti Majuma kese pa wa asi.
Okay, so he says that he helps in making sure also that the gutters are all clean in the area. But let's see whether some young people are interested in the elections as well. And let me speak to you. You want to communicate with me in English?
Tree.
You want to speak what?
Tree.
You want to speak tree?
Tree, yeah.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
Holland D.
Holland D.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will ask.
No,
in English.
Then
you, okay.
University call the country.
Okay, no problem. Ohra election you ohra MPP ni NDC nyina so moye yonko. Aso omo ye no asupem bibia danidin even though omo nyina prese ombema wo omo candidate in the win. What do you think about atmosphere na NDC ni MPP for wo mo wo mo no? Aso omo ye friends pa.
Pa omo ye friends pa. Na kam ko anka so jepe nyina ye pe. Se ne be ya nyina Ghana be ya ma nyina. Na mum kam ko anka yama ya nyina yankan mbum na okambo ma ebetuma ye ya ma ye e wo district imu. Yeah.
I say a constituency.
Constituency, yeah.
Elections a trade, He says that they would want both the parties to continue to be coexisting peacefully. I mean, basically that's what he said. Keeps insisting that I speak Tree. Did you vote in the last election? The last election, who voted?
Yeah, me voted, yeah.
Did you vote in the last election?
Yeah, I voted in the last election.
Okay, so who did you vote for?
Last election, I voted for Akufo-Addo.
Meaning a constituency. One over to man.
Akufo-Addo.
Okay, Mate. And TCC announced one over to a man.
Oh, and the Minchile also promoting a bachelor. Into me coffee in cage in one. Yami bachelor.
Okay, me pesi me bisa wo. A modern bar and now say one modern so the last 2 years, the Akufo-Addo administration. A bit me a sergeant Treno. And I bet me as a wondering why I'll be able to a man so call by election mana.
In now, Anna.
Say on to by election Thursday.
Oh, come, free HS, free SHS in Akufo-Addo, a boy in Napa because me bano mean just facing mano.
And so let me speak to more people. Let me get to know what they think about the election in the first place. Okay, so let me ask you, you're a constituent, you live in the area. Yeah. What changed usually as a constituent would you want to see in your area?
Day in, day night, morning, afternoon, people are robbing for a year. If any least mistake, snap your phone, oh, then they take it. There is no security for around this place. And if you catch somebody to police station, the policeman talk to say, this case is foolish case. You did and the person pass. Meanwhile, the thing is the person.
It's a concern for you. For you, security in the constituency is a big issue.
Yes.
So, what would you want to see done to improve the state of security? Or how would you want maybe your member of parliament or ideally the government of the day influence changes or developments in your constituency? How do you want that to be done for you?
I want improvement for security venue, improvement for our security light. Then always, at least, the police people is around. If any least mistake, then you intervene for them. Then what happened? This and this happened. Then you solve the problem. Or if you can't solve the problem, they send the case to the office.
That's the wrap-up activities as to who is going to vote for who, what influences their votes as we speak to various residents in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency.